Good evening and welcome to the Let's Go Racing Motorsports Report. I am Mike Babicz, your host and the voice of Wilmot Raceway and other area racing from time to time. And we've got a really busy show tonight, so we're just going to get right to it. First of all, we want to thank the folks that bring us on the air each and every week. Our good friends from Hartnell Chevrolet, they just came on board with us this last month. We appreciate that. Also, Let's Talk Local, and we'll have more information on them in a few days, or actually in a few weeks when we come on the show. John Hatterline, attorney at law, Force One Performance Parts, B&L Office Furniture that supplies us with our in-home studio here, American Tire and Truck Repair, truck repair of both Lindenhurst and Kenosha. Our good friends at Great Lakes Dragaway, they've got a huge event coming up this Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to talk with John Reidenbach and Steve Roden of Great Lakes Dragaway in the last segment of our show tonight. Also, Steve Sinclair and the Bumper to Bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Cars. The IRA, technically their season is done, but the Wisconsin Wingless have a non-point show, a non-point two shows actually coming up October 18th and 19th in conjunction with the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars down in Joliet at Route 66 Raceway. Also, Fox Lake Harbor, Hunt Club of Richmond, Midwest Motor Coach, and Olson Transportation. They provide the Lake County Honor Flight. And this coming Friday, the Lake County Honor Flight is going to be leaving Foss Park in North Chicago about 11:30 in the morning. Eddie Boyd's dad, Eddie Boyd, and his wife, Debbie, are the proprietors of MLS Auto Clinic up in Paddock Lake. His dad passed away before he had a chance to go on the honor flight, but they have what they call a Folds of Honor. And Eddie's dad will be part of the flight. And Eddie's going to be with me in the Bodycraft M3 Custom Creations Wilmot Raceway Pace Truck. We're going to ride up together for the escort up. And then we're also going to come back on Sunday about 7:30. We'll be coming down from Mitchell along the interstate. So if you see a lot of police cars and can't figure out why the interstate is blocked at the Mitchell exit, that's why. MLS Auto Clinic, again, Eddie and Debbie Boyd. Bodycraft of Antioch. Waukegan Harbor Marina and Greentown on the Rocks. We will be having a Let's Go Racing Motorsports show presented by Larry Roebuck. It's going to be coming up probably in May. We're taking a look at a couple different dates, trying to work around Easter, and we hope to have an announcement maybe on next week's show. Impressions count. Randy and his fine crew do a great job. We be waxing. Chad has storage space available for you if you need it. Buddies of McHenry. Culver's of Paddock Lake, A-Main Apparel and Diecast, Garrett and the Tennyson family, Northern Illinois Council on Alcoholism and Substance Abuse, Stars and Stripes Honor Flight, which B.J. Johnson, who is the head of the ambulance crew at Wilmot Raceway, he has been on that flight and can tell you more information about that particular honor flight. Cabins on the Lake up in Friendship, Wisconsin. Kathy and I had our getaway there a couple of weeks ago and really enjoyed our time up there. It's a great place to get away. 5-star race car bodies. If you're looking for a job in the world of motorsports, contact Daniel Sanchez, Carl, or Corey Schultz, and they can put you to work. Nielsen Enterprises of Lake Villa, Lake County Hose and Equipment, our good friend Bill Fusting, and RC Electronics. They all help us out. each and every week and help us get on the air. And we certainly do thank them. And if you'd like to join our growing list, you can get in touch with us. It was up there a little bit earlier, and Kent might be able to throw it up there again before the night is done, where you can get in touch with us, or you can just email me at michaelbabicz@aol.com. Our first guest, we're going to bring him in now out of my green room here in our in-home studio. Daniel Sanchez joining us from Five Star Race Car Bodies. And Daniel, welcome to the program. This is the second time we've had you on this year. Last time we had you on at Five Star, which was really cool. But welcome to the program. Appreciate your support and the support of Five Star with our program. And first of all, tell us a little bit about what's happening with Five Star. I know it's kind of somewhat the off season, sort of. I know things are getting hot and heavy for NASCAR. Kathy and I are going to Homestead in a few weeks. We'll be down there for that playoff matchup for the Cup Series on that Sunday afternoon down at Homestead. But tell us what's happening up at Five Star.
Nice. Yeah, it's thanks for having me on the show first. And at Five Star, it's busy season for the marketing team, and we're right in the middle of getting our catalog ready here. And we're going to a couple of trade shows, PRI coming up December 12th through the 14th. So we'll have a big booth there. So you can come check us out. And we'll be showing off all of our new innovative products there. It's going to be we're really excited, and it's going to be great to see everyone.
And I know when we spoke at the shop, at the facility, there's a division of Five Star, which I think a lot of people don't realize. I mean, everybody thinks of Five Star, they think of racing. But you've got another division that is really growing. And tell the folks a little bit about that division.
Well, we have our windows division across the street from us. And we're looking to, we do a lot of heavy equipment, heavy machinery, forestry equipment, a lot of polycarbonate windows for that are all coated. So they're scratch resistant, and we can do any kind of custom window you need. And, blackout border, the whole bunch of different options we got over there.
And also you do work on Jeeps, right?
Yeah, we have a company that we work with called Clear Lids, where if you own a Jeep, we do the polycarbonate tops where it's like a moonroof, so you can see the open sky all the time, but it actually does not open up. So it's just a clear piece of polycarbonate, and adds a premium layer to your Jeep for sure.
Well, and it was kind of cool because we did have a big Jeep jamboree not too long ago around southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. There was just Jeeps everywhere. And one of the local radio stations, WIAL, was very involved in it. And I know that's something they do each and every year. So that's kind of cool. I know we had hoped to have Five Star have a kind of a company outing at Wilmot Raceway this last year. Of course, Wilmot Raceway is wrapped up its 2024 season. Things are already starting to get together for 2025, the 75th anniversary season for the Wilmot Raceway. The World of Outlaw late models already have a date, basically the same date, the last Monday in July. And I understand we had a kind of a debrief meeting this last weekend up at Wilmot, and I understand there are talks going on now rather than waiting until we see what Mother Nature decides. They're already looking for a possible rain date.
Nice.
And may have that built in and announced, before the season gets going. So, I understand too that, again, a lot of people think of NASCAR, they think of Five Star because they see your stickers all over the NASCAR cars, all three divisions.
Yep.
But your biggest customer, from what I understand, or one of your biggest customers, is the World of Outlaw late models.
Yeah. We work with the World of Outlaw late models, the Lucas Oil late models. We work with tons of tracks and series. We have a huge contingency program for the pavement and the dirt racers. We get many requests asking for individual sponsorship. People reach out through Facebook and email and everything. We typically don't sponsor individual racers because we are always working with the tracks and series to give back to a more broad audience of racers rather than just focusing on a few individuals. think it makes the most sense for us to be able to give back, to the racing community as much as we possibly can that way.
Now, how long so folks can have a little bit of your background, how long have you been with Five Star?
I've been with Five Star 3 years last Friday. So just had my 3-year anniversary there. The people are great. The Schultz family is awesome. Everybody that works at Five Star, we have a really good time. I think I know we all have the same goal of just providing racers with premium products with quality service, and just making sure everybody gets their stuff on time, keep them ahead of the rest of the pack.
Now, you do some racing yourself. You fill the folks in a little bit about that and your racing background, your racing career thus far.
Yeah, I started out racing when I was 13 years old in a 4-cylinder compact Hornet. They call it a whole bunch of different things, whatever you want to call it. But started out, ran those for a year, ran street stocks or pure stocks, depending again what you want to call it. For another 2 years after that, we got several wins. Being young and fast, it was checkers or wreckers. And, it was a tall task for my dad to make sure the car was ready each week. So, really grateful for him and, all my sponsors that have helped. And I still have a lot of sponsors on board that have been on board for that long. Silly's Competition Engines has been building my motors since I started racing. My dad had raced for 25 years. Silly built his motors for a very long time too. The Gormans have been a huge sponsor for us. It's going to be their 10-year anniversary coming up next year already. The Gormans is a cool story. It's Joe and Gina Gorman. They are race fans that kind of wanted to build their own race team. They just like going to the races. I like seeing the young up-and-coming racers. And so they sponsor Brett Wright in the sprint car division, myself in the modified division, and they used to do some go-kart stuff and Northeast Pro Stock stuff as well with a few different racers. And, they just like going to the races and, helping out as much as they can as well. So we're really grateful for them.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Now, you run two different kinds of cars, correct? The UMP mod and the UMP late model.
Yep, we've been working on getting the late model ready. We're just getting a motor built for that. We do a lot of traveling with our UMP modified, and with as much as we race, we try to keep our motors fresh. So we actually just had our backup motor in for the last 3 weeks that we plan to bring down to Volusia in February. Now our brand new big motor is ready. So we're going to be putting that in. We're getting ready for a Dirt Track World Championship at Eldora Speedway, October 17th through the 19th. We actually only race the 17th and 18th portion of the show. But then after that, we're going to Montpelier Motor Speedway in Montpelier, Indiana. I definitely recommend you guys check that place out. The Ryan Sutter and the crew are doing a really great job there. They have the Monster Mash. It's a Friday, Saturday show, the 25th and 26th. They got some really cool trophies, and the festivities are going to be really exciting for the end of the year.
And now this last weekend, I was able to catch some of the action that was on Flow Racing down at Fairbury. Mm-hmm. It looked like they had a really good show down there, a pretty good crowd, and even though it was a little chilly, they still put on a great show. And I know that was one track, as you and I talked during the summer, that you were hoping to get to. Did you make it down to Fairbury at all, at least to drive, or did you get down there at least as a fan?
We didn't really get a chance with as much travel as we've been doing. We actually didn't make it this far out this far west with the modified this year. Unfortunately, I know Jonathan Clayton and Matt Kroll over at the Mars Racing Series have done a great job, and just Fairbury in general. Like, what a place! Just town, everything. I just there's nothing to. I mean, there's nothing like Fairbury. It's just the heavy hammer down short racetrack, bull ring, out in the Midwest that you just want to be a part of.
Yeah, that's for sure. So. Well, we know you got kind of a tight schedule, but one thing I want to ask, you heard me give the promo as one of our sponsors here and supporters of the show. You folks are always looking for people to come work at Five Star. Mm-hmm. So what kind of positions do you currently have available, and how would folks go about applying?
Well, we're getting ready to go into our busy season right now, and we are pretty good stocked up in all of our departments. But I always encourage people to send their application in, and you never know where we might be able to get them in at. Maybe our plastics department, thermoforming, or our composites division, our windows division. We're always growing, and we just this past year started working on growing our engineering team. We've got a great team of engineers now in-house. We're designing a lot of cool stuff. And we're really excited to showcase all those new products that we're coming out with for the racers. So we think that you keep an eye out on the 5-Star Bodies Facebook page and check us out and all of our dealers for the new products coming out soon.
Yeah, and and we're not going to tip anything, but you just definitely want to keep an eye on the Facebook page, because you never know what might show up, and it might be something you didn't think of 5-Star doing, but now in 2025 they might be doing it. How many years has 5-Star been in operation?
Well, they've been in business since 1978, so been a long time now. And Carl and the whole Schultz family and Fran back in the day, they've all just done an amazing job. It's such a great company to be a part of, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity that they've given me.
Well, we appreciate your support and appreciate you coming in. We're going to let you go, and because I know you got a honey-do list. We all have those.
We have that. Yep, we have that.
So again, thanks a lot for stopping by our in-home studio.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. We love being on the show, and hopefully we see you at the races soon.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Take care, Daniel. Yeah, and that was Daniel Sanchez joining us from 5-Star Race Car Bodies. And again, keep an eye on their Facebook page, keep an eye on their website, because you never know what might show up and where their products might be seen. Well, we're going to bring in now David Deary. David Deary from the Deary family, a long time part of auto racing in the entire country. I mean, I'm not going to just say the Midwest or just at Rockford Speedway. The Dearys have been involved in racing virtually coast to coast. And I know, one of their mainstays, the Rockford Speedway, it's harder and harder every time you go by it. I know it's got to even be harder for you, David, and the rest of your family. Now that reality's really setting in, when they start digging up the asphalt, then it's pretty real.
That was definitely a gut-wrenching day to see that happen. I'll definitely admit that. More, and even all summer, as the weeds grew through the asphalt, which I just cannot stand. I wanted to go out and just pull the weeds just because it looks bad, but obviously all for naught. But it's a lot of history. 76 years at Rockford Speedway, and it's great. The memories, the stories that one good thing, I guess, so far out of all this is the stories that are coming out from everybody, every angle. From, Grandpa did this, and just the stories are incredible that came out of that. So that's a good mark to leave, and kind of proud about all that.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I think it was Jerry Guile put something out on Facebook the other day that the racetrack may be gone, but the memories are never going to leave. And that's something that's your legacy. That's your legacy. That's your parents' legacy, and that's going to live on. And I think too, I've heard that mentioned without getting too philosophical, but I'm going to get philosophical anyway. It's my show. Sometimes race car drivers need to remember who they're really there for. They're there for those folks that are paying their hard-earned dollars, that are saving up their money from work. Little kids are saving up their allowance, whatever, so that they can go to the races. And that's who the racers should be there for. And that's who the Dearys were always there for. It was the race fans first. Competitors, yes, but ultimately it was the race fans first. And I was fortunate enough, it was the first promoters workshop that I ever attended in Daytona with Gordy and Lorraine Sill from Waukegan Speedway.
Right.
We walked into the hotel the first room that we went into was Jody and Hugh Derry's. And we sat down and visited with your parents for a long time that evening. And I was just a fly on the wall, just soaking it all in. And there's just a lot that I learned from your parents over the years. Fortunate enough to have worked with you folks, as an announcer and been out there as a fan with traveling series and that. And it's just awesome. And it's awesome, too, that you are continuing that legacy through various ventures and various events that your mom and dad started. So fill the folks in a little bit about what has already happened this year and what's still to come, a big one coming up this weekend.
Well, certainly. Thank you for that. And that was my thoughts. There's so much history and tradition with these events, and I could retire and just let them all go to the history books. And I thought, you know what? My dad wouldn't want me to do that. My mother wouldn't. I don't want to do it. So I was able to find some homes for these events. We started with the Spring Classic, went down to Grundy County Speedway. And the odd thing there is the Spring Classic, its first year when it started 45 years ago, was at Grundy County Speedway. Then it moved to Rockford. Well, now we're going back home with that event. So, and then throughout the summer, we took some of our thrill, our fun events, our school buses. They bought a bunch of school buses, so we're running there. But I got to go back to the beginning with Grundy. They were just the oval track for many, many years. And they came to me last year and said, well, what can we do to do other events and, open our schedule to more events? And I said, you need to pave a figure eight and pave the infield. And lo and behold, they got it done this spring. So about a $250,000 investment in paving and drainage, which I also needed there at Grundy. So that kind of set the stage so we can take our fun events. Our trailer race went down there, our world famous figure eight trailer race. We did our Night of Thrills at Grundy. And then and we have our National Short Track Championships, 55-year historic event. Grundy already had the Bentonhausen, which moved from Ileana to Grundy. But so Jerry Aubie at the Dells Motor Speedway at one of our power meetings said, hey, I would really like that event. And other facilities also wanted, I got to throw that in. It wasn't just the Dells, but the Dells seems like a perfect, and it worked out. It was a great weekend, a perfect venue for that event. I guess the only part we're really missing is a huge campground, but we're working on that aspect for next year. Camping in the Dells it's a touchy subject apparently. So with all the resorts and everything. So moving the Dells event or the short track to the Dells, we had great car counts, great racing. And believe it or not, we had nice weather and it was almost too hot on Sunday. So. And the date got changed. We moved it up too. So there was a lot of different factors in that aspect. So, and then and our upcoming event now is the Bahama Bracket Nationals, and they're going to go to the Grundy County Speedway. And if you've never seen or heard, to me, it's one of the best racing events to watch as a spectator, because you put all these different cars out there, and they're all bracketed by time. So it doesn't matter what kind of motor you have. It doesn't matter what. There's a weight rule and a tire rule, basically. And you qualify, and you're bracketed in with similar cars. So you'll have modifieds racing sportsmen, and you'll have 4 cylinders racing street stock. So it's a mix of everything. And that's a 3-day event. And it's, yes, it's not going to be at Rockford, but at Grundy, we're building a new bar for the post-race nightly activities where we sing for your start and have a bunch of fun. And so it's a great event, dirt cars, and moving the location further down south to Grundy. Now we're starting to pick up some of the Indiana and Michigan cars that never really made it all the way up to Rockford. So it won't be as big as we left it at Rockford, but I think we'll continue to grow and get it to the level before, because they have plenty of space at Grundy. And of course, we had to go down there and put some new roads in and some gates and stuff to expand that pit area. A big pit area, but we're going to make it a little bit bigger. And
but you got an airport right next to you now, so
we do have the airport.
Everybody can just fly in. Yeah.
Well, one of our beaches at Grundy this year is now Airport Beach, the one on the as you come in the pit area. So that'll be an exciting event, a lot of fun. We in the first 2 days we had 75 cars entered, so that we opened up the entry list, and I believe we're at about 104 or 5 right now. So we'll like I said, it won't be the Rockford numbers that we had, but we got to get her going. And great enthusiasm out of the fair board down at Grundy and the staff down there. They love it. And that was a track, honestly, that needed stuff. It needed, all they were racing was Fridays and Saturdays. And so, bringing in the school buses and the trailer races, they've had great crowds following those events. And people are just like, we didn't even know this place existed. So a lot of good there, helping those guys out and putting those events on. And we'll see how it goes. I'll let you know next week.
Well, I'll tell you, it's and again, going back to your folks and what I learned from them over the years at the RPM workshops, which I know you guys are still involved with and still attend. But I can remember that your dad sitting. There were 2 things that really still stick in my mind. He was speaking before a crowd of about 500 promoters from all over the United States and Canada and probably Australia and other countries too. Mm-hmm. And he asked him, he says, "What's your most expensive seat in your facility?" And they're, "Oh, well, I've got a VIP box and I've got this and we got these special seats, by start finish and this and that." And he just sitting there shaking his head. And he goes, "You folks just don't understand." He goes, "The most expensive seat you got in your facility is the empty one."
Exactly.
And he said, they can't buy your concessions, they can't buy your souvenirs, but most importantly, they can't go back and tell their friends what a great time they had. And he goes, "I give away thousands of free tickets every year." And he goes, "And I get maybe 1% back." And he goes, "I'm fine with that."
True.
And and that was that. Obviously it stuck in my head because I'm still remember it. Yes. And when I met him, I didn't have gray hair. But the other thing that he always talked about too, which I've preached wherever I've announced or been involved in racing at, is we're not just in the racing business. We are in the entertainment business, and you've got to keep the people entertained. And, by doing a school bus race, by doing a trailer race, by doing the Bahama brackets, that's something different than just watching cars go around a circle. So
yeah, that's where school bus jumps come in, and the swimming pool jump, and the jello rolling. Whatever you could come up with, something unique, something that
the outhouse race.
The outhouse race.
When I was announcing for you guys, I'll still remember that, going into the guys getting out of their car, unstrapping, going into the outhouse with the newspaper, and then coming out,
jumping the fence, and then you pay one driver to leave it and drive. When he gets out of the car and the car takes off, and he comes out, "Where's my car?" And so that's entertainment right there. I mean, people are So it's and that's so true. The "thou shalt entertain" was, another statement that my father was very behind, and I always figured the racetrack. It is a racetrack, yes, but it's really a stage, because you can do whatever you want out there, and you happen to race cars on that stage is your primary deal, but anything else you can do to draw attention, bring people to the facility, then do it. I mean, that's kind of how it works. That's many years that racing really doesn't always pay the bills. You got to do that other stuff. And I was fortunate at Rockford to do a lot of stuff. We had a lot of Sunday events, drifting and car shows and concerts and circus, everything and anything, but it brought people to the facility, brought recognition to your place. And then from there, it was all good. So good stuff from my father. He taught us all well, and many people in the racing world. Still today, you're not the only one. I hear your dad told me this down in Daytona, so that's good. And he was very, very well liked and well known, not amongst the racers per se at Rockford, because in 1974, when he basically threw out the super late models and started Rockford Rules, which today is the Big 8 late model car, a limited late model, that was earth shattering back in the 70s. It was, and it hurt, and those were rough years, but look at what happened out of that. That Rockford continued the class, and the racing world today is as we know, is getting crazy expensive, as is everything. But that's why I'm still proud. I still run and promote the Big 8 late model series. We're a limited late model car, 8-inch tires. Try to keep them as least expensive as we can. And compared to a super late model in today's world, they're I think they're going to be the workhorse of the racing community, because the super lates are pricing themselves out, and where you can't buy a ticket because the promoter can't afford the purse. So it's a wicked little circle we're in. I'm glad I'm in with the Big 8 late model. I'm glad that the limited late model car is still around, as you know, Mike, that you really can't. You're sitting in the stands, you really can't tell a half second or a second difference on the racetrack. And as we all know, the slower you go, the wider the groove, the better the racing. So it's that's just kind of my theories on life there. But coming from Oktoberfest, now this was last weekend, or actually yesterday. So that was a huge event up there. It is every year. My brother Chuck and Greg McCarns and Austin, they do a great job of organizing that and streamlining it. And the Big 8 late models had our championship race there Saturday night. We had 44 cars entered to make the 26 slots on the field, and we had a great race. We went green to checkered, and but the whole weekend was great, and they had absolutely beautiful weather again. So the good Lord is looking out for the racing people. Give me one more week, good Lord, please. But yeah, if you don't go to Fest, you need to add that one to your bucket list. Over 1,000 campers out in the parking lot, and just 4 days of racing. I mean, there's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's quite a production, and they do a great job up there.
Well, and fortunately, I did work for Kevin Dawson too before Lake Geneva shut down, and just the communication. And you mentioned the Power Eye group. Maybe just real quickly, let our viewers and listeners out there know what that Power Eye group is. I mean, the communication I remember that Kevin used to have with your family, and especially like when Greg was the GM at Rockford, the two of them would get on the phone and discuss, okay, who's gonna cancel first? I'm not going to cancel if you're not going to cancel. And I mean, they would almost, flip a coin on the phone, deciding, if the weather was bad enough to call the show.
Well, the promoters of Wisconsin Auto Racing is Power is what it's called, and we meet twice a year in the spring and in the fall, and we all get to sit together and basically tell our report from the year, and then in the spring we go, all right, where are we going? But that's open the communication to all the racetrack promoters, so I can call anybody. I'm on my email list. I am on, and we all do, but and a lot of that is we've come together on penalties, and suspension has become a very hot topic, I guess you could say. So as a power track and weekend, and somebody gets thrown out or banned from Rockford Speedway, for example, I can send out to the power group, hey, we put out Alex Papini, let's throw that name out there. We banned him, just so you're aware. And the tracks have their option to say you can't come to race here, or some will say, all right, he didn't do nothing bad. So it's put a little more weight into the penalties that we can assess. That, if I screw up at this track, man, I could not be able to go anywhere. So that's one of the real big benefits, but it is the communication that we get to and we chat and talk in the spring and in the fall. And then it's just a great way to, we're all in the same business, and we definitely don't try to do events on top of each other. So that's kind of the spring meeting is, all right, we're going here, here, here. And we kind of sort out our dates and try and obviously there's going to be conflicts because there's only so many Saturdays or race nights in the summer and in the fall season. So, but it's a very good tool. Very similar to the RPM, but just on a smaller regional scale. Mm-hmm. RPM is nationwide and all over. So, and I know there's a group in Michigan for Michigan promoters and the Wissota group. So there's different groups of promoters in the country that have the same organizations that basically do the same thing. We're all in the same game, so let's work together. Pretty common and makes a lot of sense.
Yep, that's for sure. So, well, we know you're a busy guy. You've got the big event coming up this weekend. Where can folks go for tickets and for information on the Bahamas?
They will go to the GrundyCountySpeedway.com page, and then it'll redirect you to enter. And there's the schedules, the information there, camping information. So, yeah, if you've never been, I mean, the main events are on Sunday, but we race all day. We qualify all day Saturday morning and afternoon, and then go through the heat races and bash races Saturday night and get to the main events on Sunday. So if you don't have anything on your schedule, mark Grundy County Speedway Bahama Bracket Nationals down for this weekend.
All right. Sounds great. Again, David, always good chatting with you. Please, my best to your entire family. You're great people and great friends.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for all your help and over the years and all your support.
All righty. Well, maybe see you this week. I have never been to a Bahama Brackets.
Ooh, all right. Put you on the list, baby. Let me know.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks a lot, David. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye. And that was David Deary, Bahama Brackets, this coming weekend at Grundy County Speedway. We're now going to bring in Dick Melius. Dick Melius, long time involved in racing all over, particularly Slinger, but some of the other tracks as well. I think we still have Dick with us, I hope. I'm kind of waiting to see what's happening here. Dick Melius is with the Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame. And we understand, okay, Dick is still going to try to connect his mic and his cam. So I'm going to let my producer decide, do we want to shift gears and do we have our John and Steve in the green room? Oh, there's John. That answers that.
Right there. Just dropped my phone.
Minor details, John.
Yeah.
It's all right. Okay. And has Steve joined us yet, or are we still waiting on him, Ken?
Oh, there he is.
Steve. Okay. All right. We're going to go this route then, and hopefully Dick gets his technical stuff straightened out, and he can join us in the next segment. But John and Steve, welcome to the Let's Go Racing Motorsports Report. And I know you guys have got, we do have Grundy, which is a little ways from you guys. They'll have the Bahama Brackets this weekend going on down there. And actually, as you were probably listening to David Deary, it's almost using a drag racing format. I mean, you have cars, they qualify in certain times, they can't break out or they get put into another group and all that kind of stuff. Very similar to what happens in drag racing. But you've got a big event coming up this Saturday at Great Lakes Dragway. And I usually talk to John, but we're going to let John give the floor to Steve first, because it's my understanding that Steve, this was kind of your brainchild and you kind of put this whole thing together. and the Nitrous Streetcar Brawl, and you've got that coming up Saturday at Great Lakes Dragway.
Yeah, thank you. We started the Wisconsin Outlaw Street program last year and had some pretty good success. And we added a class for 2024, and we've had a pretty great year, all things considered. It blew away, I think, my expectations and probably the expectations of many others. We're fortunate enough to have groups like the Brew City Gassers, John's guys, that have been huge supporters of ours, and having them be a part of the show with the cars that they bring and the quality of stuff that they show up with. It definitely makes for a good program.
And now looking at this too, you've had, I think, 1, 2, 3. Is this the 6th one you've done this year? Am I looking at the schedule correctly?
Yep. Yeah, this will be the 6th and final. So this will be the deciding factor for our 2 points champions who get the champion last year, got a championship belt, like a big wrestling belt, which has been pretty cool. So this year we brought that back. So our Outlaw Street champion and our Outlaw class champion will both have a championship belt for this year. Right now we have a pretty tight points battle in the street class. Logan, who is from Central Iowa, has I think it's a 70 or 71 Duster with a Hemi and a Pro Charger. And he's in first right now with a pretty good lead, but there's a chance if he messes up that Jim Nicoletti, who has a twin turbo Camaro, could jump ahead and catch him and take home the championship this weekend. So should be exciting.
Now this last weekend, Kathy and I took a trip up there. We did get to watch the Brew City Gassers a little bit. And we got to see John make a run. Actually, he was the first one we saw make a run on the asphalt side. And yes, John did win that match. And how'd you end up doing, though, the rest of the afternoon, John?
Well, I kind of lost in the semifinals. I got a little bit antsy and went 005 red on the semifinals, which would have got me into the finals. But hey, it was all fun. My good buddy Johnny Shealy, he won it all with this Econoline pickup truck there, which is great. He's a good guy, and he did what he had to do.
Well, and I must admit that one of the reasons we came up there is I wanted to see the snowmobiles on clay. We talked about it last week on the show, and you told me about what they were going to be doing, and I thought this is very unique. And came up there, and we were able to watch a few passes before we had another commitment. But I heard there was one that on Friday night went 163, and Saturday before we left, there was one that went over 144. And I was like totally impressed.
Yeah, I think one of the women that was racing there might have set the world or the woman's record for the 500 foot there. I believe somebody was telling me. I'll have to get more of the stats from Randy and see what the actual results were for him. But that's kind of crazy how fast they go. They go faster in 500 feet than I go in a quarter mile. Yeah.
Well, and what I was amazed at too is listening to their announcer and that over there, and his explanation on how they put the track together and put the surface together and everything. And you were telling me how they were really rolling it in and getting it hard and that the clay, but they're not intending on it to stay clay. The announcer was saying by next year they're figuring it's going to be all grass, and then they're going to be doing the same thing but grass drags. Is that your understanding too?
Yeah, I think they are. And it's crazy because that's a lot of work. They did a lot of work getting that track made for the clay, to get that race in. But it was crazy how much those guys were out there on the equipment the last few weeks working out there. But hey, whatever works for them, I guess. If they want to put it back to grass, they'll put it back to grass.
Well, that'll be a little different. So I take it then we're going to be looking for a lot of grass drags at Great Lakes Dragway in 2025, in addition to what's going on over on the asphalt side.
Yeah, that was funny because the grass was really, really nice over there before they put the clay on there. So I don't know. It doesn't take them too long, I don't think, to get it back to the grass again. So if we have a decent year and we get enough rain, it should be pretty good.
There you go. Well, back to Steve here now. Steve, we've talked to John on previous shows about his racing, what he does, the kind of car he races, how he got started. What about you? What kind of racing do you do personally, and how did you get your start in racing?
So my dad's been racing since I was a kid. We own it. Excuse me. We own a shop in Union Grove, Wisconsin, right by the racetrack. And my dad's been in business for over 40 years, building engines, muscle cars. We do some race car stuff that actually has become more of my focus over the last few years. But my dad's raced everything from a 23 T-bucket altered that he bracket raced for a long time. And then in the more recent years, he raced with the Chicago Wise guys in a blown alcohol 57 Chevy, which I also got to drive. So I've been 690s at over 200 miles an hour in the quarter. And I've been very low 4 seconds at 180 miles an hour, roughly in the eighth. I've ran a lot of different cars for customers. I haven't had my own car in a little while because we've been focusing on the business, but hopefully next year I should have my new 65 GTO out. And it will also be a blown alcohol combination, kind of like John's, but probably just a little bit more power than John's. But I've raced a 68 Firebird Pro Mod car that we had for a little while. A lot of Camaros and F bodies. It's kind of been my niche over the last few years.
Well, that sounds plenty interesting. What kind of businesses does your family do, or is the family business there in Union Grove? Because actually, I've got family that lives in Union Grove. My stepdaughter and my granddaughters live in Union Grove, so I'm a little curious about what kind of business they've got.
So we're what would be like an old school speed shop. So we have a full machine shop. We do all our own engine building in-house. We sell and supply parts to racers, and we build a lot of muscle cars. Right now I'm working on a 67 Olds 442. We're doing freshen up in the engine on that. And I have a 70 Chevelle right next to it that is a 496 big block Chevy. We're putting fuel injection on it and a Pro Charger, and I just put new 12 bolts in it. So my dad likes to say anything that's old American muscle, old Detroit iron is what we do. And we've been doing that for a long time.
That sounds awesome. Well, I always give the racers that are on my program an opportunity to plug sponsors. So, Steve, I'm going to let you do it first. It's your chance to plug your dad's business, tell folks how to get in touch with you, phone numbers, all that good stuff.
Okay. Our business is Legend Racing Enterprises. We are in Union Grove, Wisconsin. Telephone number is 847-923-8979. I'd also like to plug the sponsors for our series. We have RPM Transmissions out of Indiana, Redline Motorsports down in Illinois. And I'm going to screw this up without any notes in front of me. Yep. Motion Raceworks, TBM Brakes, Riccio Auto Works in Racine, who's one of our racers and sponsors, Hyperactive Performance Solutions. We've got a lot of guys that stepped up to help us get the series off the ground, and we really appreciate it.
All righty. That sounds super. John, anybody you need to get out there to thank? I know the weeks are winding down. I know we've got a schedule through October, and if Mother Nature keeps cooperating, we could probably race till Christmas at the rate we're going. But I don't know if that's quite going to happen. I think Randy's going to have a little honey-do list here pretty soon.
Yeah, got to do some maintenance on the track in the off season and do some other things. But hey, as long as the weather's nice, they'll keep racing for sure. I kind of interested in seeing Steve's car, blower cars to the front like that. You have a blown alcohol 65. That's cool.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir. I tune too much turbo stuff now. My dad would not be happy if we had a turbo car for our own. So it's got to be a blower.
Nice. Yeah, and they're doing. We still have the RC. They race RC cars race every Wednesday night. They are tonight. They're going to be doing their drag racing, and ladies' night's still going on. But we're still. There's still, as long as the weather holds out, we'll be racing. And we have the last Import Wars the day after Steve's race on the 12th, Wisconsin Outlaw Street, the Nitro Streetcar Brawl. The 13th, that Sunday, will be the last Import Wars that's going on. But then after that, it pretty much goes to fun racing and still have the ladies' nights going on in that. But
racing's always fun, right?
Yeah. I need to pull the engine out of mine. I went way farther in the bracket race than I thought I was going to. I ended up going. I didn't think it was going to go that many rounds, and it's getting pretty tired now. So I was going to switch it out for my other one before this weekend, but I don't know if I will or not. But it's ready for some piston rings, I guess. So time for a freshen up.
There you go. Well, John and Steve, thank you for both coming on. John, of course, thank you for being on each and every week that you've been with us. And we're still planning on doing another show next week. We're probably going to start going to monthly at some time. But I keep having a lot of racing to talk about, so that's why we keep going with a weekly show. So, again, thanks to Randy and everybody at Great Lakes Dragaway. I'm going to be a bachelor in it this weekend, so I just may come up and check out the Nitrous Streetcar Brawls on Saturday for a little while. Sounds like fun to me.
Oh yeah, some of the most exciting racing of the season. Yeah.
All right, sounds super. Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you at Great Lakes Dragaway this weekend.
Sounds good. We'll see you, Mike.
Take care. God bless.
Bye.
Again, that was John Reidenbach and Steve Roden joining us. Again, Great Lakes Dragaway. They're racing right now tonight with Ladies' Night. The ladies get in free. They get to race for free. And there's the battle between the battle of the sexes between the guys and the gals. And they thought it'd be done by now, but Mother Nature says, no, you can keep racing. So they're going to keep racing as long as Mother Nature cooperates. Joining us now is Dick Melius. Dick Melius, involved with the Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Racing Hall of Fame up in Hartford, Wisconsin. If you have not ever made the trip up there and seen it, you got to. It should definitely be on your bucket list. It's just a fantastic place. A lot of nostalgia, a lot of not only racing, but a lot of other kind of cars are on display, and a huge steam-powered locomotive that still does operate. They take it out and make some holiday runs right around Christmas time and goes through various towns. And it's just an awesome place. It's the Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame and the Auto Museum, Wisconsin Auto Museum. It's in Hartford, Wisconsin. You can go to either one of those websites and get more information. And I thought we had Dick, but I don't know if we lost Dick or not. We are going to see if we can't get the technical problems that Dick was having earlier. I know that one of the reasons we wanted to get him on is there's two events going to be going on November.
Press anything?
Nathan Crane's 5th Annual Midwest Racers event is going to be going on. You can go to Nathan Crane's website and talk to him about information that's going to be going on later in the evening. But the Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame is going to have its annual induction ceremony on Saturday, November 2nd. And Dick, welcome to the program, and tell the folks a little bit about the class that's going to be inducted this November 2nd and other information regarding the Hall of Fame. Make sure you're not muted there, Dick, because we should... Kent's saying that I should be able to hear you, but I just won't be able to see you. And we're still giving that a shot. I thought I heard him for a minute. Well, I can tell you this much. Yeah, we may have to. We're having some technical problems here again, but I don't know if Kent, if you've got his. If you've got his cell or number or not, and can reach out to him. Otherwise, we may have to try to get Dick on next week. We thought we had him all set up earlier. But we can tell you that you want to go to the Southeast Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame. The induction will be on Saturday, November the 2nd, up at the Hall of Fame. There are tickets available. They are at a reduced price if you get them before, I believe it is October the 28th. So you want to check that out soon because you can get tickets and reserve them or keep them and have them available at the door, and that is okay as well. So again, that's the Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame. And Matt Kenseth, who was part of last year's class but couldn't make the induction, is going to be one of the main people inducted this year. We are going to see what we're going to try it actually this way. We had to do this last week, Dick, so I'm just going to let you talk on my cell phone, and we'll just do this kind of an old-fashioned way. So,
can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay, Dick?
I can hear you real good. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. Not a problem. Not a problem. Kent, as long as we are making it out on the air, if I don't hear from you, Kent, we're just going to keep going. So I believe that we can hear you okay. I have you up by our speaker. Dick, I was just telling the folks about the Hall of Fame induction that'll be coming up on November the 2nd. Fill the folks in a little bit about the class of 2024 and what'll be happening on November 2nd.
Well, we've got another great 5 inductees again this year. I'm going to start out in alphabetical order here. The first one that's we're going to call to the stage is going to be Jimmy Fennig. Jimmy started out crew chiefing in short track racing here in Wisconsin and was most prominently known for working with Al Schill at Hills Corners and many other dirt tracks in the area. And then, as you know, worked his way up through the ranks into ASA as a crew chief and eventually ended up in NASCAR. First off with one of the greats in Bobby Allison, and eventually ending up in Roush Fenway Racing, working with Kyle Busch. Kurt Busch. Our second inductee to the stage will be Nathan Hasloop. Nathan joins us from short track racing here in the Midwest and has quite a display of accomplishments that we're going to look forward to hearing at the induction ceremony, and expect that to be something quite interesting for a lot of the fans. Our third inductee is Mr. Scott Hansen. Scott, as many of you know, has raced throughout the Midwest and in Wisconsin, starting in the super late models and late models around Slinger and the Dells and Kaukauna and Madison and the Milwaukee Mile, and then went on to the ASA series and raced prominently there, being very successful in that series. So we look forward to seeing him and hearing some great stories from him. And as you already mentioned, Matt Kenseth was elected last year, but due to scheduling conflict, we had to push that off until this year. Was elected and has a very, very rich history in short track racing in Wisconsin and throughout the Midwest, not only in super late models at Madison and Kaukauna and Slinger and Rockford and other places, but then ASA series, and then obviously went on to be very successful at NASCAR under the guidance and leadership initially with a young man that is already inducted into the Hall of Fame, and that's Robbie Reiser. So we're looking forward to having Matt being able to finally join us this year. And then our fifth inductee is a driver that tragically lost his life quite a few years ago, but was a very, very accomplished racer and was successful in a short period of time, and that's Pat Schauer from the Watertown area. And his family and his sons Ryan and Dan and Mike will be here to accept his award along with Pat's former wife Mary. And then we have a dedication to motorsports award that is given out almost every year, and it's sponsored by one of our Hall of Fame inductees, and that's John Ziegler. And that award this year will be going to Faye Hendricks, who obviously has been around short track racing in almost 4 or 5 states here for many, many years. So we look forward to presenting her with that honor. That's the gist of our list of inductees so far.
And we are working to get Faye on one of our programs in the very near future. If folks need tickets, I know that there's somewhat of a deadline because you need a head count so that we can make sure that there's enough food for everyone that evening. So again, as far as getting tickets, how can folks go about doing that?
They can send a ticket order to the Hall of Fame at 5538 Arthur Road, Slinger, Wisconsin, 53086, or they can get on the website, Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame.com, and there's an order form on there that they can. If the tickets order is received by the week of the 21st, we'll still mail the tickets out. If it's received after that, we'll gladly hold those tickets for you at the door, and then they can pick up at registration when you enter the museum.
And now I know also that you do a lot of different special events. Myself and Steve Sinclair and Cody Tennyson and Dave Olson, we were a foursome at the golf outing. We had a lot of fun that day. That was, and the weather was just fantastic. And I know you had something for the youngsters not too long ago, and you had the traditional fall car show. Any other events that are coming up that you want folks to be aware of during the quote off season?
Yeah, there's always plenty to do at the museum. The museum is open every Wednesday through Saturday from 10 to 5 year round. And we have a great display. We are rearranging it right now and shining everything up for the upcoming induction on November 2nd. And then we'll have our winter get-togethers, one in February and one in March. Those dates are on the website as well. And those involve, the first one is living inductees. We'll bring in as many as we can get out in the winter weather, but it's a good break in the wintertime, and we have a good time, lots of good stories, lots of pictures, and lots of memories to talk about. And then in March, we have what you refer to as our young racers, which is all of the young racers that are involved in go-karts and bandoleros and legend cars and anything for the young people that's competing in the area. They can display cars in the museum for that day and also enjoy lots of fun and some great food that's provided as well.
All righty. Well, we very much appreciate it that we were able to get you on tonight and get some information. The Hall of Fame is fantastic. If folks have not seen it yet, you want to put it on your bucket list. I know as racing itself gets winds down, it's a great afternoon drive from us here in Antioch, where I live, down here near Wilmot and Great Lakes Dragway. It's only maybe an hour and a half at the most. And it's really a pretty drive, too, at this time of year with all the fall colors changing. So, Dick, we will look forward to seeing you on November the 2nd, and looking forward to a great night once again.
Thank you so much, and I apologize for the technical problems tonight.
That's okay. No problem. Take care.
Thanks
God
for having
bless.
us on the show.
Yep. We'll see you, Dick. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that's going to wrap it up for this week's program. Before I sign off, though, I want to send my thoughts and prayers out to my cousin Tom and his wife Fran, grandparents of a young man, 20 years old, named Adam Bryan. Adam's parents, Todd and Andy, and Adam's twin brother, Tyler. Adam lost his life this last weekend, and our thoughts and prayers go out to the Bryan family and everyone that knew Adam, and very good friends of his, and all of his family members as well. And I would just add that try to keep folks in your thoughts and prayers always. And this month happens to be Mental Health Awareness Month, so say a little extra prayer for those folks. So that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. Again, we've got a lot of racing still to go, hopefully. And we do plan on having a show next week before we start possibly hitting our once a month programs. So until next time, this is Mike Babicz wishing you a pleasant evening, the best of tomorrows. Remember, kids, just say no to drugs. Thanks. Good night. God bless. And let's go racing, everybody.
Yeah.